Hey everybody, long time no see. I haven't really posted in a while, but I'm here with another video. This time I'm going to cover two tutorials, well three sorta. It's going to split into two. First one's going to be grabs and throws. This is something that's been requested for quite some time now. I haven't had a chance, and I'm going to try to cram it into one thing. Um, Keep in mind, I do not like to code throws. I hate it with a passion. It's very tedious, depending on how the throw is. But alternatively, throws are custom states, which means they're easy to really use. Now, I don't have any character to show you how to do this with fresh, so I'm going to use Kung Fu Man, and I'm going to explain to you how a throw works. Let's see. So, put his collision boxes on. So, Kung Fu Man's going to go close to him, grab him, and throw him. Alright. Now, we kind of wonder what the hell just happened. Let's take a look in slow motion. Well, that wasn't slow at all. Let's try this again. And, yeah, okay. I didn't pause. Huh. My pause key's not registering. So, grab, there. Okay, he grabs him. He flips him over. And he tosses him upside down and he falls down to his ass. And that's that. Now, what really goes on there? Well, to start off, we need to have our animation in the sprites. Now, all characters by default have the 5000. It's a requirement to have these 5000s. 5000 is hit in the face, and all the animations, the indexes are for hit in the face. 5001 is hit in the face aligned to the stomach. 5002 is hit in the face aligned to the face. And then 10, 11, 12, all of this is more or less good to know and how the alignment works. Now, for the animations, Kung Fu Man is going to have his attempt. There's always an attempt throw. You can't just throw. You need an attempt to throw. So if his first frame here has the red hitbox, if he misses this frame and goes to the next frame, he still has the same frame. This isn't necessary right here, but this is how they do it. So if the first frame misses, he's gonna go with the rest of his animation, which is this. So it looks like he kind of misses and goes back. So in the case that the player is on the ground, which I believe I can show you, he'll do a miss grab. So let me just sweep him, and nope, that's the actual grab. Well, I'm not sure why, but anyways, the first frame is where the actual grab is. Everything after that is a miss. So if he misses the grab, he's just gonna go ugh, and go back to his stance. If he catches the grab, Kung Fu Man is gonna have another animation, which is him actually throwing the opponent, which is the rest of this, but actually working. So he'll go like that, he'll grab you, and he'll flip you over. And this image is flipped horizontally, as you can see here, because of the way Kung Fu Man flips. He flips overhead. So when the player is flipped overhead, they go on the other side, and when that happens, the player is going to flip to the side. So this is to save that. I guess it's kind of confusing to include this. I guess you guys would much rather see me actually do this with a new character. I don't have any new characters planned. At least nothing that would use this. And then you have so you have the attempt, they have the player 1 throwing, and then you have player 2 being thrown. Now, this may look like garbage and hoopla, but it makes sense. Basically, the frames for this, for player 2, is matched to the frames of player 1. Frames, not flames. Now, this has 13 frames, and this has 15 frames. The reason why is because player 1 has to go back to his stance. That. And player 2 will more or less just fall infinitely. So, see the first frame here? Time is 2. Player 2 is time is 2. Player 1 next frame is time is 3. Player 2's next frame is time is 3. Then 1 time is 10. Player 2 time is 10. All these times have to match up correctly. If they do not match up properly, it's going to look like crazy nonsense. The reason why is because you're matching this animation of him being hurt and thrown to this. And by having it at the same time, it just makes it a lot easier. So let's take a look at the command for that. Where is he? Doesn't have an actual command for it. Instead, he has this fancy little code down here. Kung Fu palm, upper, blow, high block, blah blah blah. Throw. Now this is all kind of like gibberishy here, but that doesn't matter. All you need to know is all of this is right all of this. So, why? Okay, whatever. So if the player is standing and the player has control and the player is not in state 100, 100 is running forward, and the player presses Y, which is high punch, and they hold forward with player 2 being less than 3 pixels away, and player 2 is not hurt, meaning if you're doing an attack, you can't combo into the grab. You have to just do it naturally. And this is just to make sure that player 2 is either standing or crouching. But basically, if you're standing, you have control, and you're not running, and you press Y, it's going to change complement to state 800. 800 is his throw state. Now going down here to 800. If you read these instructions here, it'll give you a little idea of what's really going on. But this is the Kung Fu throw attempt. Now you have the basic state definition right here. Your juggle will be 0 because throws do not use juggle points. They're not comboable unless it's something like Zangief, which he can grab you in the air. You know, you could punch, kick, and grab in the air. That's just Marvel's Capcom style gameplay with air combos and grabs. So in most cases, usually for a regular grab, juggle is 0. Velset is also 0 because you don't want the player moving. Control is 0 because you don't want them to move while they're doing the move, which will usually cancel out what they're doing and whatever else they're going to be doing after. Physics is N because you're standing. Unless you're doing an air attack, then use air physics. Type is S for standing because the player is still standing. Move type is A because it's an attack. Sprite priority is whatever. Animation is whatever you want to use. The hit depth for this is really simplified compared to everything else. And if you read these notes here, it explains how this works. But in short, basically, if the hit def is active from time equals 0. Time equals 0 meaning any time during the entire animation, if there's a red hitbox, this one here, this hit def is active. So if this red hitbox is, say, like on the last frame, it's going to be active on the last frame. If it's not, it'll be active on whatever frame. But whatever hitbox is there first, red hitbox is there first, that's going to be taken into factor here. And since it's the first frame, then it's going to be like right away, instantaneously. So the attribute for this is standing normal throw. See? Standing normal throw. The hit flag is M-1, meaning in effect only grab people who are not being hit. Okay. M stands for middle, which means they have to be like kind of standing already and not falling down or not laying down. Priority is 1, miss. Throw has low priority, must be miss or dodge type. Spark number is -1, so no spark appears when you grab them. You don't want your hit sparks appearing when you grab somebody. You know, it's just kind of strange. Sprite priority, how you want the characters to appear, who's in front, who's in back. Player when facing, whichever direction you want the players to face. By 1-1, meaning player 1 is forced to face player 2, and player 2 is forced to face player 1. If player 3 and 4 are active, then that player is going to be facing the one grabbing them. So this kind of ensures that both players will face each other when they're grabbed. And P1 state number will put player 1 into state 810 and put player 2 into state 820 if this hit def hits, which is going to hit on this trigger. And it puts player 2 into a fall state. So even though they're going to be in a throw state, they're automatically put into a fall state to recover them at the end of the custom state. So once the custom state is over, the fall state will take effect and they'll fall down, hit the ground. Guard distance prevents player 2 from going into a guard state if close. Hey, there you go, simple. And change state with time equals 0, animation time equals 0. So if he tries to grab it and misses this altogether, he's just going to change back to stand and continue battle normally. But however, if he does hit, he's going to state 810. 810 is right here. This is Kung Fu Man throwing the opponent. Now this will look a tad confusing at first, but I'll just go over the basic part of it, then explain the difficult part afterwards. Now, so player 1 has entered 810 now. 810 is him grabbing the opponent and throwing them. Power add is 0, so player 1 does not gain any power. This can be ignored because this is just something that's here for Kung Fu Man. You have your grab sound, you have your throw sound. target bind and width are, I'm not sure you need width at all, but they have it here. Target bind is very essential to doing normal throws, and how it works is it basically puts, let me see if I can, okay, I think I can do it here actually, let me see. They have a throw creator in Fighter Factory 3, so that's nice. Okay, so this is the first frame. Okay, so, throw. Okay, so these are the animations playing side by side, right? And more or less, it looks like, what the hell's going on? You know, you just see them flipping and turning and doing crazy nonsense. But here's what target bind does. Target bind will more or less allow you to position them. So say this is the position. Player 1's going to be his normal position. Target bind, you're allowed to move player 2 wherever you want to bind him. In this case, we want to bind him like right here or something. There. Then the next frame, oh, that saves. Oh, it does save, cool. Okay, so there. Then the next frame, he's going to be binded up here like this. Next frame, target bind. You'll guess the positions, or you can use this and get the values right here. That's kind of handy. I've never used this though, so I don't know. Then there, and then there, and then there. And I'm not sure what this is about. Yeah. Well, if you flipped it horizontally, which is what's happened here basically, it's going to look right. So basically, target bind is something that locks player 2 into the position you want them to, so it appears as if you're grabbing them and flipping them overhead. So you see, and I guess you can use Throw Maker from Fighter Factory and use the X and Y's right here to get the proper numbers. Alternatively, you can hit the insert button, which will insert all those codes. Where'd it go? Huh. Okay, it'll insert the codes here. But I'm not sure how Electbyte did it, but they have the same numbers. So let's see, turn, blah, 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 blah. Okay, target bind. Animation 6 time grid. Okay, so let's see. So let's try something here. So animation 6, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe this is 6. Okay, we want him like somewhere like here, right? Okay, yeah. So this is the position, but let's use the value here. Animation element times 6. Don't worry about the time. It's animation element 6. Position 41, negative 60. So let's try 41, negative 60. And that's his position. Now let's check position 2. Position 2 is 25 and negative 75, and look at that, he's just where he has to be. I wouldn't use such complicated things like this. I would honestly usually use time equals 10, and like then the next one will be like time equals 20. So each like tick, it puts him in the position. But basically, target bind sets player 2 into the position you want them to be in to make the throw look authentic. Then you also have other things like target life add, which means you control how much life the player loses. Target state puts the player into their own state, their own custom state. Turn means you turn the player. Position add, you know, in case their feet moves, you use a position add. And then after that, that's just player 1. All the targets, state, target, bind, all that stuff. Any code with target in it goes into player 1's CNS state. It doesn't go into player 2's state. That's a mistake a lot of people make. Even myself have made that mistake. Target bind has to be in player 1. If target bind is in player 2, it's completely ignored. So if you want this to work, put it in player 1's grab state. As for player 2, player 2's is a bit more complicated. But to make this work, here's what you do. The type is A because the opponent player 2 is going to be in the air. Move type is H, meaning they're hurt, meaning you're allowed to put them into a custom state because they're hurt. If this is not H, this whole thing is ignored and player 2 will fall to the ground. In fact, let me show you. Move type, I'll put attack. So watch what happens when I grab him with Kung Fu Man. He'll just fall to the ground like, ugh. See? Kung Fu Man grabs it, he goes, ugh. So without having move type H, hurt, player 2 cannot be thrown like this. Yeah! Physics, and because you want to have total control of the opponent. You don't want them to be like go up and down like super fast or awkward or something. You want to have control of how they move. Now, if once you put player 2 in a custom state, which is what this is, um, this code in the hitdef, p2 state number equals whatever, in the hitdef, this puts player 2 in a custom state. And the custom state, you have to have move type equals h, and a change animation 2. Change animation affects player 1. Change animation 2, actually no, change animation affects both people, but here's the deal. Change animation will make player in a custom state. Change animation will make player 2 play an animation from their air file. Change animation 2 will make player 2 play an animation from player 1's file. So it's kind of confusing, but for a throw, use change animation 2. For something like dizzy, I would use change animation. Simple as that, right? But we're not really doing dizzy, we're doing throw, so use change animation 2. Time is equal 0, so right away they're going to play animation 220, 820, sorry. And 820 is them being, and this here, self state. This puts, let's see, in case attacker loses bind of player for any reason, this controller guarantees that the player will never get stuck in the throw state. Meaning, if Kung Fu Man is throwing player 2, and Kung Fu Man gets hit somehow, and is not throwing anymore, this will make player 2 fall down. Which is awesome. Because you don't want player 2 being thrown, whereas Kung Fu Man's on the floor not technically throwing you. Because he's being probably thrown himself. Okay. So let's see. That's that. Okay. Now, so it's going to play this animation. And on animation 11, right here, target state is turning him. Let's see, animation 11. Okay. So he's already thrown and let go of him right here. Target bind has taken effect and has flipped him over his head. And after image, group 11 here. What am I saying? Animation element 11 here. This guy's already like upside down. So what goes on is target state is gonna put player 2 on animation 11 into state 821. This is a bit different from how I would do it, but this is how Electbyte did it. Oh boy, I hate being sick. I have to pause for a second. Anyways, okay, so this is basically the player 1 grabbing player 2. The animation is playing. Then when player 1 reaches animation 11, he's gonna change player 2's animation to a different state. He's gonna change player 2's state to a different state, and he will go back to his normal self. So player 1 stuff is all done with. Just remember, target bind goes in player 1, target life add, target state, all that stuff goes in player 1. Then player 2 will originally just have a single animation to match up and everything, and then after they're thrown into the air by the target state here, this is all kind of fancy coding here actually. But it's a custom state of the player 2 flying through the air, so they'll be hurt still, so they can't recover. They have no physics, we have total control of them. They're thrown at this velocity. See, this is 2.8 comma -7. So let's try like 20. And look how this is going to affect the throw. The player is going to fly across the room and slide on the wall maybe. Well, they didn't slide on the wall, but they surely flew across the room. Let's try something ridiculous like 100. I should make him like fly to and stick to the wall a little bit. Let's see. Stick to the wall. Close enough. So yeah, this value more or less decides how the vel set here is going to decide how the player is going to flip out of his hands. Gravity is going to send him back down. 1 means constantly, infinitely. Gravity is going to take effect. In this case, they use a vel add for gravity. I'm not sure why. I would have used an actual gravity code, but they use that. And this is if you want to allow the player to recover from the throw, which is it's kind of optional, but you can just copy and paste this honestly, because this works well. And the self state is for when they hit the ground. Oh, these two are self states because if the player hits the ground or recovers, they're going to change back to their own state in their own CNS. And in this case, it uses a change state because it's going to another regular state in them, and that's more or less it. So to review, I guess you would say you need your animations of player one attempting to grab, player one actually grabbing them and throwing them, and then player two being thrown. Yeah, yeah. The command, you can do whatever you want. You can have two buttons, you can have one button, you can use something simple, and that's that. And then actual throw itself, the codes are simple. You have a hit def that is effective with time equals 0 for the trigger. You have no hit spark. You have a hit flag m minus 1. You have to have P1 and P2 facing each other, so facing equals 1. Then you need a custom state for player 1 to actually change to if he catches a throw, and then you need a custom state for player 2 to go to when they're being thrown. And putting the player 2 in fall makes it easier to control them after they fall off and you release control of them. Then change state back to allow player, in case he misses, change state to allow him to go to stat in case he misses. Then you have your actual throw-in, which is sounds and stuff. And it's more or less, there's no hitboxes for this. It's all target bind. And if you do put hitboxes, make sure you include a this code, the self state to get for player 2 to recover from. So yeah, once player 2 grabs, once player 1 grabs, player 1 is going to control player 2 with target bind to position his body to be holding player 2 and player 2 be flipping over. And it's more or less just like a optical illusion of how he's actually flipping him. So it's target bind that's used to position player 2 on player 1's body, and Sprite Priority to decide who's in front, who's in back, and how that's going to work. And then you also have control. You have other target codes here. Target bind, target drop, meaning he'll just like forget he's a target. He'll just drop and turn back to his regular self state. Target facing, you control which way they face. Life add, power add. It says add, but you can really subtract too if you put a negative there. Target state, if you want to change them from one custom state to another custom state. Target vel add, target vel set. So all the target binds are used to position the player. Life add, target life add is used to take away their life add. Target state is used to put them into their actual throw state. So the player 2 state is going to be into the same animation, and then once they get to that part in the throw where they're in the air, player 1 is going to change them into the air falling state. And the air falling state more or less has a gravity code and an air recovery code and a hit ground code. All of these are self states which puts player 2 back into player 2's CNS. When you use a custom state, it takes player 2 out of their CNS and puts them into player 1 CNS. So then you have total control of what they do. Now, it's good to know that do not use certain animations. Like if your character has say, here's a good example. Hold on. Okay. Now say Kung Fu Man here has 4 frames of dizzy, right? And your character has 7 frames of dizzy. When Kung Fu Man plays the animation from your file, it's gonna play 5 frames. Did I say 5? Yeah, whatever. 5. And he only has 4, so his 1 is gonna be missing and he'll start blinking. So you have to make sure that you put them back into their own state. Self state works best for putting them back. In this case here, change state works good for putting them back as well. And I hate coding throws. I probably cannot explain them for anything, but I hope this helps some people. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to actually show you how to do it, but I'm hope my explanation helps you a little bit. So thanks for watching. That's the throw tutorial. If you have any questions, just ask. And if you have any requests for tutorials, go right ahead and ask. Next one is Shoryuken and Tatsumaki.